Well, hey everyone, welcome to a special ZooTV version of our podcast.
Welcome.
Welcome. Well, since we've covered Octo Baby, we figured we should talk a little bit about ZooTV.
We should, because that
Because
was
why
a
not?
pretty big tour.
It was, and you were there.
I was there for
You
one show.
exactly. I can't wait to hear about it. So I'm gonna ask you some questions, but first, are you drinking anything this evening?
Screwball.
Surprise!
I was going to drink something else, but I was not prepared. What are you drinking?
I have just a very small pour of the Jameson cold brew this evening.
That's what I should have had.
I have a little bit of ice in it because I like it a little chilled. Anything else going on? We were just together.
We were. It's been
a hot minute.
Has. No, I'm really sad that you're not here, but at least I get to see you and we get to chat.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, let's get into your ZooTV stuff, should we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you're going to interview me about my show adventures?
I am, because I wasn't at I didn't see any ZooTV shows.
I was at my one.
And
I would love to hear the questions you have.
I do. This was we should start off, this was your very first U2 show.
My very first U2 show.
Very first U2.
It was March 7th, 1992 at the Hampton Coliseum in Hampton, Virginia.
Nice. So tell us, like, how old were you? Who were you with?
Okay, I was 18 years old. I was a senior in high school. I cannot remember when they announced tickets were on sale, but that was quite an interesting process.
How did you get them? There was no online Ticketmaster or anything.
No, there wasn't. And I read somebody said the only way you could get tickets over the phone, but I didn't get my tickets over the phone. So I went to a Ticketmaster location that was at Mother's Records and Tapes near Denby Boulevard in Newport News. I actually skipped school. Not technically did I skip. I was an editor of my yearbook. We had a day where we were allowed to go out and sell ads.
Aha!
And so we chose this day to go out and sell ads. We did sell some ads, but that wasn't the big focus on that day. So we all went to Mother's. You got a wristband, and I think on a Friday, and we had to go back on Saturday where they drew a number, and that number was the front of the line.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, that number that was pulled was only a few people behind me.
Oh no.
So I ended up being where I when I got my number, it was pretty early in the morning. But if I had waited until that afternoon, I probably would have done a little bit better. But I ended up getting really, really crappy tickets that were like the second to last row from the ceiling or something at the Hampton Coliseum. I didn't care. Like, I didn't even give a crap about that. I went with my two best friends from high school, Sarah and Carmen, and we each got a bunch of tickets. So I went with Sarah and Carmen and another one of my yearbook friends, Min Kim. And then we had two more tickets that were almost the exact same tickets, but on the opposite side of the arena. And those tickets went to my friends, Ellie and Stephanie.
Nice. And this was the indoor tour.
This is the indoor tour. It was only, I think, I could totally be wrong about this, but it was only like the third or fourth show of the ZooTV tour. And I did not fact check that at all. But it was an early ZooTV show because it was March 7th. And I think that the tour started on like February 27th or 28th or something.
Oh, I think it started on Leap Day.
Or the 29th.
Yeah, they were just talking about that since we just had a Leap Day.
Huh, interesting. Okay, it was the fifth show because the first show was in Lakeland and it was on February 29th. Then they had a show March 1st in Miami, March 3rd in Charlotte, March 5th in Atlanta, and March 7th in Hampton.
Well, it was early on.
It was early on, and they clearly had not figured out the set list yet. And I don't remember that many details because I think I was just like in shock that I was even there. I was in the room.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, like, what was your first impression? Like, you had been listening to this band for a while now.
Yeah.
And you'd seen Rattle and Hum.
Yes.
And other videos. But this was something new.
This was very new. I'd never seen anything like it. And I'm not entirely sure I've seen anything like it since.
I believe that.
I mean, they keep getting bigger, but in different ways.
Right.
But to walk in the arena and see all of those screens, and it looked like this, you know, like futuristic city or something. That's the only way I remember thinking about it in my head. It was just overwhelming. The stage, just the heaviness of everything was just extremely overwhelming. And I think that's also a reason why I don't have the best memories of that show, because
I have very few memories of my first show.
Yeah, I was just absolutely in shock from beginning to end.
So the set list only had 19 songs on it, which is actually pretty short.
Yeah.
For nowadays. And the first 8 songs were all from Octa Baby.
Yes.
That is ballsy. I guess all of ZooTV is ballsy.
It was. I couldn't tell you that at all. I mean, I remember, the things I remember were...
This was my next question. Like, memorable moments, takeaways.
Well, obviously Zoo Station, because holy crap. Just my heart, like thinking about it, my heart races. I remember Zoo Station. I remember The Fly, because the screen was, you know...
Yeah.
I remember one, and then I remember them going out on the B stage, which I guess was Trying to Throw Your Arms Around the World, Angel Harlem.
And B stages were new at this point.
Right.
Had you ever seen anything like that before?
No, I mean, the only concerts I'd been to before this was Sting at the Hampton Coliseum with just a plain stage, and I don't think he had even screens or anything at this point. And I'd seen B-52s and Ziggy Marley at the Hampton Coliseum, and then I saw Richard Marx at Busch Gardens. So no, I'd never seen anything.
Yeah.
Anything like that. Anything close to that. I vaguely remember, for some reason, Bullet the Blue Sky and Running a Standstill. And then I remember With or Without You at the end. And I mean, these are just like fleeting memories. Like, I remember being in the building when those songs came on. Nothing else I couldn't tell you about anything else.
It really sounds about right.
Yeah. This was also back when you smoked in arenas and stuff. And I remember being at the top of the Hampton Coliseum, which was basically just a cloud of cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
I never thought about that, because when I went to see B-52s and Ziggy Marley, I had a seat on the floor, and when I saw Sting, I was like in the one section up really close to the stage. So I didn't know that happened, but apparently that was a big thing at concerts, that you get smoked out of the place.
Crazy. I never thought about that with the indoor shows.
Yeah, and there was a guy right next to me, and I kept thinking he was gonna like burn my pants or something. I was really nervous about that guy. I was really nervous about everything with that night. I remember I think Sarah drove there, and I just was freaking out over everything, which really nothing's changed in that regard, because I still freak out on the way to every show.
You know what to expect, and you still freak out.
I have more reason to freak out now.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, my memories are not like seeing them as little ants on the stage. Like, they just seemed larger than life, even though I was far away. Also, the Hampton Coliseum's not that big. It's still big. It's still big enough that this, was not a great view, but I don't know if that's my head or if if my memory has been changed or anything, but I just remember Bono being larger than life, which he is.
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, the screens helped, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You've told this before on a different ep, but I want you to tell the story about 40.
So when we walked out and we were leaving, the band did not play 40. They ended on With or Without You, but the audience sang 40. And that was just like the most emotional thing ever to me, because it was just like, I found my people, and I did not have internet at the time. I did not have, I had friends that were fans, but nowhere, to the level that I was. And I wasn't even, I think that moment changed my level of fandom too, because it was like, and everybody sang it all the way out, like in the parking lot, you could still hear people singing 40.
I have
And
chills.
those are, there were a ton of obviously diehard fans there. And I also though remember thinking, how can this many people in Hampton Roads, like,
right.
and then I'm like, oh, how naive are you thinking that those people are from Hampton Roads? But I didn't know back then. I didn't know, but it was amazing. I have chills thinking about that. But it really was that was like a life-altering moment, because I really did feel like I found my place.
I'm sure we all have that moment or something like that. Being part of the YouTube family, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
So that said, did you ever imagine that you would end up here?
No, God, no.
This place in your life so many years later?
No, I would never in a million years have dreamed of the experiences I had and the friends I've made and my life. It wasn't, I never could have imagined that. I did think, well, you know what? I need to go see them again. And I really want to go see DC outside broadcast show. But I just don't think I could make, I went to DC all the time then, but I don't know if it was money or what. I just couldn't make that happen.
Right. Did you ever have dreams of meeting the band at that point? Like, never. It wasn't even crossed your mind, let alone a possibility.
It never, ever crossed my mind, never. And I think like the next year, I made friends later that year.
Online.
And I think that I started to get some ideas the following summer, like this is something that maybe would happen one day, that I might meet, Larry or something like that.
But all of a sudden, so much more was possible.
Yeah.
When you would hear other people's experiences.
And just, the internet just, opened a new world for all of us.
Yeah.
For good or bad. But I would never if you had told me this is what my life would have been, I would have laughed in your face.
Right.
I'm this little girl from Newport News, and how am I going to even get that creative to figure this shit out?
Right. Like, I wouldn't even think stuff was possible, let alone.
No,
Not even conceive of it.
No, and it wasn't like I walked out of there saying, well, maybe I'll meet the band one day. That wasn't.
Yeah.
That was the furthest thing from my mind. That wasn't possible.
Yeah, I get that completely.
I'm trying to think if I'd met any famous people before then. And aside from politicians, I don't think I have.
We always say that if I ever find the keys to the time machine, that we're going to go back to 97. But I think I'd want to pit stop in 92 first. I would love to just see ZooTV.
Yeah, and I feel
I'll just sit in the back and watch it, and then we'll beeline to 97.
Right.
It's just 2 hours. It's just a 2-hour pit stop.
Think about this one though. Maybe we should have started off like everybody says. If they had a time machine, they're gonna go back to Liverpool and discover the Beatles.
That's true.
Why start it in 92 or in 97? Go back to 1970, whatever.
Well, we'd already gone back to Portland during the boy tour, so we could save Bono's lyrics.
Right.
So we've already been there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your experience with us. Do you have anything else to add?
I got buttons and merch, which I think I still have, but I can't put my finger on where they are right now. I got buttons, and I remember that they sold condoms, like with the baby.
They sold condoms on that tour too?
Yes. And
they also sold them on Pop Mart, if people aren't familiar.
Yeah, they sold them on that tour. And I remember Amnesty International they had a table that was Amnesty International. And I wish I could remember more things, but I think in the same week at the Hampton Coliseum was U2, Rush, and the Grateful Dead.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so like my school was just a ghost town. Like
Yeah.
it was just like, come on, no one's going to school this week.
No.
And I don't know how I got around that. I'm sure I just probably just didn't go. But I remember like the next day I was in no emotional state to go to freaking high school.
Right?
Yeah. I wish I could remember more, but it was just, it was a very sacred, precious day in my life because
that's amazing.
It changed the way I see the world.
ZooTV had a tiny little turning point for me, even though I didn't go. My cousin Stephanie, who lived in Boston at the time, told me she was going to go see a show there. And I don't know if it was indoor or outdoor. Actually, said they were at the Boston Garden on St. Patrick's Day in '92. But I don't know if it was that show or later with the outside broadcast. But I asked her to get me a t-shirt. And I remember Mom being like, what? What is this? Like, she kind of made a deal like, are you serious about this stuff? And being like, well, maybe I am. I think I just want a t-shirt, but maybe I really love them. I don't know. But she got me that black t-shirt with the white 3 symbols down the front. I think it's like, is it a baby, a car, a Travis, and a star maybe? I still have it in a bin somewhere, a storage bin somewhere. But I remember I got that shirt. Man, I wore that thing to death.
Yeah.
That was insane. And I don't usually like stuff from things I'm not actually at.
Right.
But there was something about that.
One of the things that I don't have any explanation for whatsoever, but I already got propaganda and I didn't get my ticket. Like why didn't I get my tickets through propaganda?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
The deadline or
I cannot imagine that, but there had to be a good reason why I didn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I should have done that probably.
You did next time.
Yeah, I did next time. But I mean, like, I just didn't give a crap. I just wanted to be in the building. So the Pixies opened. I have zero memory of Pixies. And maybe we got there late enough that I didn't see. I'm pretty sure I saw them.
Yeah.
But I'm like 75% sure I saw the Pixies. And I like the Pixies, but I have absolutely no memory of them whatsoever.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I've seen a lot of opening bands over the years, and I'm pretty sure I remember. I mean, I might not be able to tell you where they opened or whatever, but I have some memory of all of those bands, but it was just so much like overload. So I guess that's why I don't remember the Pixies. But anyway, and it's been a long, crazy
musical journey
ever since. So
the attendance was just a little over 10,000. That's not big.
No, it's not big. And interestingly enough, I've seen them in smaller venues now.
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure that Mohegan Sun is smaller than the Hampton Coliseum. Also, that stage took up more space than probably.
When I think about how small like Red Rocks holds 9,000 some, I know there weren't that many there.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'll tell
there to witness the seat size.
Kind of funny story about that. My uncle was the mayor of my city for many years, and in 2008 he gave the opening speech for the congressman that gave the opening speech for Obama at a rally in Newport News, where I don't know how many people were there, but it was like, I don't know, like 100,000 people or something like that. God. Like it was, my numbers might be off, but it's got to be close to that. I mean, there was no room in my city. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And after my uncle spoke, I was like, holy crap. Like, oh my God, how did it feel speaking to that many people? And he was like, yeah, I've spoken at the Hampton Coliseum before. And I'm like, Uncle Joe, how many people you think fit in the Hampton Coliseum? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, 10,000.
Oh my God, yeah.
And he's like, oh. So maybe it wasn't 100,000, but it was a huge number.
Yeah.
It was tens and tens of thousands of people
Crazy.
there. And so I just thought it was funny because he was just like, yeah, I've spoken in the Hampton Coliseum, no biggie. And I'm like, yeah, that was a biggie, buddy.
Right. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for asking me. It was good memories.
And if anyone else, we'd love to hear your either first show experiences or ZooTV experiences. Come share them.
Love you. Also, I can't wait to ask you questions about your first show. And I was there.
You were there. You can help fill in my gaps.
I can fact check you.
You can fill in my blurry memory.
I can. Because I remember that show pretty well.
Yeah, you do. So yeah, come on over to Twitter or Instagram at @_Garden Tarts and share your experience with us.
Yes, we'd love to hear it.
And while you're online, why don't you head on over to iTunes and scroll down to the bottom of our podcast page and click that 5th star. It's right on the right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And if you leave us a 5-star review and a written review, we'll read it in a future podcast.
And if your grammar is bad or something, we'll correct it to make
We will correct it. There was actually a typo in one I read the other day.
Yeah.
And I fixed it right up. So
yeah. So don't worry about that. Type away.
Exactly.
And sign up for our newsletter.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say too. Go to thegardentarts.com and sign up for our newsletter and keep chatting with us.
Yeah, please keep tuning in.
Yeah. We will talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Even though this is a presidential election, there are many more candidates on the ballot besides the president. Go to Ballot Ready for a nonpartisan guide to your entire ballot. From there, you can compare candidates based on stances on issues, biography, or endorsements, and then save your choices to use when you vote by mail or in the voting booth. You can even request your absentee ballot or make a plan to vote early or on election day. This election matters. Make sure you have a plan to vote and vote informed. Go to ballotready.org and enter your address to make a plan to vote and vote informed. Hey there, friends, fans, and listeners. Jenny here. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a pretty big U2 fan. And if you're a pretty big U2 fan, you probably know about Bono's work in Africa through the organizations Red and One. Now more than ever, it is imperative we give them our support as they are not only fighting the AIDS pandemic, but also the COVID-19 pandemic. And you can help. Go to red.org and one.org to find out how you can be involved. Also, we love hearing from people and chatting with people, and of course, we love talking U2. So you can drop us a line on Instagram or Twitter at @_Garden Tarts, or you can even email us at wearethegardentarts@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you soon. If you enjoy this podcast, we would love it if you would share it with your other U2-loving friends, as well as leave a review for us on whatever platform you use to listen to podcasts. We would really, really love that. May your music be loud and your whiskey be strong. Until next time, cheers.